What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day or night wherever you guys are. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olson. This particular edition is from my March OwlCrate video, so if you guys want to see me unbox it and everything, I'll put an annotation above, but the standard edition looks like this. So that's the standard edition. Obviously my edition is cooler. I'm kidding. I also pre-ordered the standard edition because I want to have both copies because I'm weird like that. But let's just get into the review. All right, guys, so for this video, I'm gonna break it down into a couple different little categories just to make it easier for me to explain what my thoughts, my opinions, my conspiracies. No conspiracies here. Let's just start off with the basics. This is Jessica S. Olson's second novel. Her first novel is called Sing Me Forgotten, if I'm not mistaken. So this is her second book that she's ever released. The book here is considered a kind of fantasy, mystery, thriller, romance, I guess. But it definitely leans more on the fantasy and mystery thriller side. The regular release of this book is going to be on March 29th. So this video will probably go up on release day, so go get your copies. It'll be at all your book retailers. The page count of this book is around 380 pages, give or take, at least in this edition. I don't know if it's gonna be about the same in the standard edition, but just so you're aware. It took me about 2 days to read this book. It's not that big of a book, at least for me to read. And also, as a little side note, I do read fairly quickly, so it might take you longer to read it. So yeah, I devoured this book in 2 days, in 2 evenings more so. So that's basically your standard information about the book. If you're curious as to what the synopsis for the book is, I will read it to you. Myra Whitlock has a gift, one many would kill for. She's an artist whose portraits alter people's real-life bodies, a talent she must hide from those who would kidnap, blackmail, and worse, in order to control it. Guarding that secret is the only way to keep her younger sister safe now that their parents are gone. But one frigid night, the governor's wife discovers the truth and threatens to expose Myra if she does not complete a special portrait that would resurrect the governor's dead son. Desperate, Myra ventures to his legendary stone mansion. Once she arrives, however, it becomes clear the boy's death was no accident. Someone dangerous lurks within the glistening halls, someone harboring a disturbing obsession with portrait magic. Myra cannot do the portrait until she knows what really happened, so she turns to the governor's older son, a captivating, red-headed poet. Together, they delve into the family's most shadow affairs, racing to uncover the truth before the secret Myra spent her life concealing makes her the killer's next victim. Sounds pretty good, right? So that's basically what the story entails. I think it sounds very enticing. It certainly enticed me. But let me tell you guys what I loved first about the book and then what I didn't love about the book. I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible because I don't want you people to get mad at me. So we'll try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. All right, so what did I love about the book? The magic system in this book is really fascinating. I don't think I've ever read a fantasy type book that had this particular type of magic system. As you guys saw by the synopsis, there is like a magic system based around painting or like portraiture specifically. And I found that not only to be very interesting, but pretty realistic to what painting actually is. I studied oil painting in my school years when I was in university, and I found that the painting scenes were very realistic and pretty accurate, and also very immersive because I could imagine exactly what she was doing, and I knew what she was trying to achieve, what technique she was using, and also what paints she was using, down to like the mixtures she did and the brushes she used. It was really fun to kind of live vicariously through the character and doing those things that she did. It was really fun. Also, the magic system is very well explained, so if you're a person that really likes your magic and your fantasy worlds to be very detailed and very well explained so you know exactly how it works and the ins and outs of it, you really get that in this book. You really get that explanation, so you're not really left with any kind of questions. If anything, it kind of makes you curious as to what else the character can do with her magical abilities. Another thing that I really enjoyed about the book was the dialogue scenes between the characters. I found that the book as a whole is a very character-driven book, so you don't really get a lot of like details regarding like scenes, like places, like the manor or all of the other other places where the character goes. You don't really get like clear pictures of that, but what you do get a clear picture of is the characters, and you really learn a lot about the characters through the conversations that they have. You learn about their quirks, you learn about how they talk and how they tend to carry themselves through these conversations, and I found that to be really, really fun. I do like when stories have that kind of very heavily character-driven moments. There is a romantic subplot between the protagonist and the older brother of the deceased, and I found it to be really nice overall. It is a very slow burn type of romance, so you're not gonna get any kind of Romeo and Juliet-esque type of romance where they're throwing themselves to each other and they're like, oh, I love you too, that sort of thing. You're not gonna really get that. I don't think the word I love you is mentioned between them in the entirety of the book. So it's really nice to kind of see them slowly kind of fall for each other. I found that really, really cute and endearing, because that's how I kind of see a lot of relationships start, and it was really, really nice. So I really like the romance. It's very slow burn, very believable within the time frame that the story takes place, and I feel like it didn't overpower the main story of the mystery. It kind of it was supplementary to it. Very well done, to be honest. I really enjoyed that. I find that a lot of mysteries, if there is a romantic element, it kind of tends to overshadow the plot. So very well done to Miss Olson for that. Now let's get into the things that I didn't like. To start off with, there is a character in the story. Once you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's this character. She works in the manor, and she has a very interesting relationship to the deceased. And I feel like she was underused. Like, I feel like she could have been used a lot better. Because you see her, but you don't really see her a lot in the story. And it just would have been nice to kind of get like a nice little side story to kind of flesh her out a little bit more. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. I would have loved to see that. To continue, another thing that I didn't like was the big reveal. You might be wondering, what do you mean you didn't like the big reveal? It's the big reveal. The big reveal, for those of you who are not aware, in every mystery there's like the big reveal where like the mystery is solved. And I found that the big reveal in this book was a little bit jarring and a little bit difficult to follow. I had to end up going back a couple pages a few times to kind of see if I missed anything, to try to get me back into the story and be like, oh, this happened. Okay, let me go back a couple pages. I'm like, okay, so I didn't miss anything, so what's going on? If you read the book, you'll kind of know what I mean, but it could also be because I was reading the book at 2 a.m. and I had to finish it because I needed to know what happened. But that could also be a contributing factor to why I had a hard time following on the big reveal. But I kind of would have liked it to be a little bit less jarring. A lot happens in that scene. Another thing I didn't like was the epilogue. I feel like the epilogue could have just been done without. I feel like where the author ended the book, that was like chef's kiss, nice little icing on the cake and everything. The epilogue honestly could have just been done without, but I feel like the author did it because they wanted to kind of possibly leave the opening for a sequel novel. That's my theory on that, but honestly I don't think that the epilogue was needed. I kind of feel like it bogs down the story a bit, but that's just my opinion though. Last thing I would have liked, and this is a little bit contradictory to what I said earlier, I would have liked the settings to have a little bit more detail. I would have liked them to be a little bit more fleshed out, because I saw a lot of people reviewing the book saying that it kind of has like this gothic atmosphere to it, or these kind of gothic tropes. But when I was reading the story, I didn't quite get those gothic tropes. I didn't get like that atmospheric gothic sort of vibes from the book. Like I said earlier, it was very character driven, which was nice, but I would have liked a little bit more of those descriptions for that ambiance personally. That's just me being extremely nitpicky right there. Now I'm going to get into the time frame. Basically, how long did I think the story lasted within that world? How many days passed? That sort of thing. So it's a clear distinction that about 2 to 3 days passed within like the first half of the book, but after that I found it to get a little muddy. Time frame doesn't seem to matter in the second half of the book, so I'm not really sure how many days the story takes place over. If I were to give a rough estimate, the story takes place over a course of maybe about 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, like about 3 weeks, maybe a month. I know that's not helpful at all for those of you who really enjoy to see your passage of time clearly in books. I will just let you know that it just kind of gets muddy after the halfway point, just so you're aware. Now I'm gonna get into some content warnings so that way you guys can make an educated decision of whether or not you want to read this book. These are just some of the things that popped out to me. If you guys have read the book already and you want to share some of your own content warnings that you think people should be aware of, please comment them down below so everyone can know. So these are the things that I noticed. There is a lot of mentioning of vomiting, very detailed descriptions of vomiting. If you're squeamish, if you're queasy, and that makes you feel some kind of way, it might not be the book for you because it happens more than once. I can maybe count maybe 4 times, maybe 5. It does happen quite often and it is incredibly detailed. I found myself feeling a little queasy when I was reading those scenes. Next, there are very clear depictions of anxiety and anxiety attacks. I found myself very much relating to the character that experienced these anxiety moments because that's how anxiety feels. But if you find depictions of anxiety or anxiety attacks triggering, this might not be the book for you. And lastly, and this is kind of a given since it is a kind of murder mystery fantasy sort of thing, you are gonna see gore and you're gonna see some blood in relation to a corpse and other things because it's a murder mystery. So if that makes you squeamish, if very detailed descriptions of rotting corpse makes you uncomfortable, you already know. Skip the book. But other than that, that's pretty much my overall thoughts on the book, as spoiler-free as I can keep them. But if you guys want a kind of spoiler-filled, analysis-filled video on this book, I can definitely make that for you because I love dissecting books. It's one of my favorite pastimes. But overall though, guys, I give the book a solid 4.5 bats out of 5. Yes, we rate things out of bats here because we're itchy. I found the book to be very, very entertaining. It was definitely a page turner. It kept me guessing on trying to figure out who the killer was. And as I mentioned earlier, I literally stayed up till 2 in the morning, both nights, reading this book because I needed to know how it ended. So overall, it gave me my entertainment. It gave me like, what, 48 hours of entertainment. So I definitely think it is worth the price point if you decide to purchase it. But you can also borrow it from your local library and pay nothing, because who doesn't love free books? But that's basically the review, you guys. I hope you found it enjoyable. If you guys want to follow me on Goodreads, I have a Goodreads account now, so you guys can see what I plan on reading and what I've read. If you guys want to do that, feel free to give it a follow over there. But if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys want to see me unbox my OwlCrate edition of A Forgery of Roses, click on this video here and it'll take you to that video. But other than that, you guys, hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!